Oh, jeez.
Hello, everyone. We are live. I suppose I should do my intro. Hey, friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tori. And I decided to just put something out in the internet and see if I could get some random YouTuber to jump on live with me tonight. And thankfully, it's Andrew, right?
Yeah, you can call me Andy. You can call me James, Wizard.
I know whatever. A lot of Andrews, so that might be a little difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably go by just Wizard.
Okay, we'll go with that. Cool.
Yeah. I'm glad you just accepted some rando on your channel because.
Yeah, anytime.
I've never heard a book in my life.
I'm here to help the smaller channels.
I appreciate you.
I'm here to get you some subs. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is Andrew, and Andrew is a BookTube friend of mine, probably one of the longer ones since I came back to BookTube last, whenever that was, July.
Yeah, we started talking pretty much like you pinged me on Twitter.
Yeah.
Was it Twitter or Discord? And you were just like, hey, I'm a booktuber. And I was just like, oh, cool. Who is this person? And then I was like, oh, shit.
That sounds like me.
I went and dug into your channel. I was like, oh, so you're a channel that went dormant, came back, and then we started talking.
Yep. That sounds like something I would do.
It's been about a year now.
Messaging the randos on Twitter.
I mean, I leave my DMs open. I get all sorts of DMs. So
I bet.
I mean, not all sorts. I don't get all sorts of DMs.
Clarifying. Yeah.
I'm not that popular.
Yet.
No, let's not get there.
Right. I think you've got a good audience, and all the rest of it can just stay on Twitter.
Yeah. There's certain parts of Twitter I stay away from.
Right.
What up, Kay?
Kay is here. Mr. Roar Surrey is in the chat.
Is that how you say that? I always butcher his name. Fantastic individual.
You know what? Totally honest. I just winged it, and I'm hoping I'm right.
I think you nailed it.
You'll have to let us know.
I recognize the name because he comments on almost all my videos.
Yep.
And a fantastic individual, very supportive.
Oh, yeah.
I always feel like I butchered the name.
I always feel so bad when people come on and I feel like I'm not going to be able to say their name correctly. So I just kind of like go with it, and we'll see. They're like, you're so close.
You're just like, oh, hey, you, what's up?
Nice to see you again. But yeah, you'll have to let us know if I pronounced it correctly. If I didn't, please feel free to correct me because I don't want to say anyone's name incorrectly. Hey, Derek, what's up?
To Derek's point, I've gotten thirst comments before on a live show.
Yep. I'm like, no.
No, thanks.
No. It's not that kind of channel. But thanks. It was really funny too because I got a review request a while back where because you get the emails from people and like I've gotten so many wonderful emails from people, but there was one a few months ago where the author mentioned that she really loved my channel and that her book was a good fit for my audience because of the swoon-worthy romance in it. And I was like,
you don't watch my channel.
What part, where on my channel are we getting that from?
So Nico and I actually talk about this all the time, where we get like just random author pitches. Like if you're going to pitch a book, make sure you know who you're pitching it to. Because if you just take a stab at the dark, just because you're female doesn't mean that you're a romance channel. And like people will just be like, I've been loving your YouTube videos. I've got this darkest of the dark where like everybody dies. I think you would like it. And it's just like, what about my channel makes you think?
And that's the part where you say, I think you have me confused for Tori, right?
Yeah. They get it wrong. And then like you get the AI generated stuff. It's awful.
Yes. Yeah. But then on the flip side, I have gotten some really lovely emails And I always feel bad when I'm behind on answering people. I'm like, oh my gosh, please forgive me.
That's how I ended up with 25 review copies right now.
So
it was 50. I'm making progress.
There is a word that may help you going forward. Yeah. I mean, you could say
I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
I've gotten better.
I totally get it though, because it is really hard because like we want to see everybody like, it's not that we don't want to help. So
John, if it's the one with the Triceratops on the cover, I've seen it and it's hilarious.
I'm just gonna let that one go. Otherwise, YouTube's gonna demonetize me real quick. They don't care about our channels. We're too small still.
The only time I've gotten a ding on my channel is I did an author interview, and the author, it was a dream interview, so I don't even care.
Right.
On author interviews, I'm lucky if like after 6 months the channel brings me 70 cents. So
right. Oh yeah.
I don't care. Right. He dropped like 100 F-bombs, and that was enough to get YouTube to notice me.
At least we have a standard now to know, like, okay, how much is too much?
How much is like, I didn't care because it was Drew Hayes. Like, it's on my channel still. Super sweary. Right. It was a fantastic interview, though.
I remember when we did Imposter Syndrome, whatever the last one was, 5. Right? Yeah, 5. Rob let one slip, and then immediately he was like, "Is that okay?" I was like, "Fine."
As long as it's not in the first 5 minutes.
Nobody's gonna show up at my house. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hello.
Hi, Elaine. Derek's all right. Just as long as it's to Andrew and not to me.
I look forward to it. Make it saucy.
Right. Ready for some well, I mean, it's Andrew and I, so I kind of signed up for the shenanigans this evening.
I mean, hey, you asked me here. So.
It's true. It's true. I do remember, though, a live stream in which you did mention rather sourly that I hadn't done a Book Friends chat with you yet. So in my defense,
I give everybody credit.
I'm not on this show.
I want to be on everybody's channel.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. That's why, like, the other night I was doing a live stream and Pete showed up in the chat and Pete was like, "Oh, look, Tori's on a live stream." It's like, shut up. Yes, Mr. Rora Surrey. There you go. We got it.
Rora Surrey. Okay, I'll now know from now on.
I wonder if we got the same one, Kay. I bet we did. That would be really funny. I mean, Kay's channel just says swoon-worthy romance reader as well.
I mean, honestly, if you want to go ASMR voice, like when Kay talks, like I'm just like
I'm still
listening to about the books. Like I'm notating the books, but I'm just listening to Kay talk.
Mm-hmm. I'm here for Kay reading, like narrating a grimdark novel would be the highlight of my reading experience, honestly.
Because I wouldn't take it seriously. I'd be like, "Oh, they're getting murdered." Well, they sound cozy.
But it sounds nice.
They sound super cozy while getting stabbed.
Cozy murder mystery.
She can do that.
Right? Hello, John. How are you? Sorry, my brain was catching up to the chat there. I did remember who you were. That wasn't me forgetting who you were, I promise. Hey, Christopher. How's it going? I'm glad you guys are still being productive.
I haven't been productive in a while, so I'm glad somebody is. Even though I feel like I've read like 12 books this month, and I don't know how that's possible because I've DNF'd like 5.
I mean,
I've been playing video games. I've been watching TV.
I've been doing nothing but reading and captaining the readathon, and I have only read 7 books, so I don't want to hear about it.
No, my bad.
That's fine. You know what, Matt? The idea for the thumbnail was 100% Andrew because I sent him a Voxer earlier this week, and I was like, "So, thumbnail thoughts?" And
well, Andrew, I just looked up Mage Battle, and I saw this cool thing, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we can do something like that."
Ours is definitely cooler, to be fair.
Yeah. It's definitely sillier. It was funny because Tori messages me, and goes, I've already taken 20 selfies and I hate them all. So I need you to do the first one. And I was just like, cool. And so the way I do it is I set up my camera and then I turn on video. And then what I do is I go in and I take stills from video.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to do selfies. And so I just made the most horrendous faces I could think of. And
I mean, it worked. I have a nice like blackmail stack of selfies now that I can just shelve for later.
Are you kidding? I'd give those away for free. I'll sign those. Those might be new. I might print those out and just send them to patrons when they sign up.
You should. That would be amazing. Yeah, that was I enjoy doing the thumbnails because it's always like I never know what it's gonna end up looking like.
I'm perfectly okay being a dork. So
like I would say the hardest one was actually when I did the Steven Erickson thumbnail, because I didn't even want to put myself on the thumbnail because I was like, now I have to look like regal and studious somehow. It's not usually my.
I wouldn't have leaned into the studious. I'd have just done something stupid.
Hey Cal, I don't know what you heard, but I promise it wasn't me.
Have you read Cal's books yet?
No, I need to. I have the first one on my. I know. I'm working on it. I have the first one on my Kindle.
Make me so happy.
And honestly, this month I'm writing a short story that has me a little bit in the mood for some like Western fantasy right now. So it might happen sooner rather than later. I know the covers. Can we talk about those covers for a second, please? They're stunning. Absolutely stunning. I love them.
Oh, the story is even better.
I'm excited. So yeah, I have the first one, and I just kind of, like I said, briefly felt the shift into being interested in some Western fantasy potentially. So that'll be the first one I reach for if I do.
This is my top book of Q1.
I know. I need to read it.
Oh, it's so good.
Sarah wants to know, what are we reading at the moment?
I'm reading this, which I'm mostly enjoying, and then I'm reading an arc, which I'm kind of enjoying.
It has been staring at me from right there on my shelf the whole month. And
I'm about 45% in.
Nice. I've chatted with Tilda a little bit on Twitter, and she's super cool.
Yeah, it's a great. I didn't know it was historical fantasy when I started it.
Oh, really?
Which was a pleasant surprise. Well, I thought it was Norse-inspired fantasy.
Yeah.
I didn't actually know it was historical fantasy.
Mm.
And so, like, I was just like, wait a minute, the Danes? Why are they talking about the Danes? And I'm like,
Spike.
Right? This isn't high fantasy.
I mean, you've kind of been in a little bit of a historical-ish
It was a good surprise.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It works. It works.
I have a cat hair stuck to my nose, and it's driving me nuts.
Worst.
I know, right? Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on the Evie. This is why I can't have friends on BookTube, because everyone's always mad at me for something.
I just asked Evie to be my guest on my channel in May. I haven't given her a date yet. I told her I would like 2 days ago. And so that's how, I am with managing my time.
I mean, I'm trying to keep at least half of May unscheduled. Like the last 2 weeks of May, I'm trying to not schedule anything, and it's been a challenge. I have several people that I need to we've had a hard time kind of scheduling the book friends chats just for time zones, and like, oh my gosh, this cat hair is like gonna kill me here.
Is that what we call it? Cat hair?
Yeah, oh totally. I knew this was a good idea. Eva, you know what? I should have asked you. I could kick Andrew out and you could come on and we could chat. It'd be great.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, it's really warm. I'm going to have to start putting a fan in my room for these live streams, because I have a big like bowl light behind my computer to light the room because it's darkish, and it gets really warm in here, and now it's not winter anymore. So
I actually need to get a kind of photography style light to improve my lighting, because I just learned about key lights like two weeks ago.
I know what they are. I just don't know how to set. I don't know how to like.
Ask Kay. Kay knows.
That's a good
Kay's
point.
the one who informed me what a key light is.
Okay. I'm catching up. Yes, absolutely, Kay. I've had a few where, especially if you have more than 2 guests, it's a trial for sure.
So here's what I do. I just shotgun blast out links to StreamYard and see what sticks.
Just see
so I'm like, hey guys, I'm going live to do a thing. It's probably a dumb thing. Oh, you probably did, Evie, and I just don't remember because I'm an airhead. Anyway,
see you later, John.
I'll let bye, John. I'll let Evie yell at me. But like whenever I do, like when I did the 1 chip challenge, I was just like, hey, here's 15 links. I'm sure 8 of you will show up.
Well, I mean, none of us were going to miss that.
You know, the chip wasn't bad. It was the gummy bear that about killed me.
Yeah, that didn't sound like a good idea. I'm not going to lie.
I just popped it, and then like I got off air about 10 minutes later and then threw up for 4 hours. It was good. I won't do that again.
Did you say what the second book you were reading was?
Who, me? Oh, yeah. Is it The Shadowgate by L.L. McRae?
Ah, gotcha. I am reading Those Once Forgotten by N.C. Scrimger.
I've not heard of this.
Book 2. It's a sci-fi indie. It's book 2. Her first one was Those Left Behind. Yeah, I'm about 50% through it. I'm enjoying it so far. She's definitely very character focused sci-fi, and there's like an ancient threat that's coming into modern sci-fi society, and some really interesting alien races, good character work. So I'm enjoying it so far.
Nice.
Yeah. Evie's playing hooky off of the sprints here. See, that I'm telling you, Kay audio narrating Grimdark would be amazing.
Kay needs to go back and re-narrate the 11th cycle.
See?
Yeah, just soften the blow a little bit.
Right? Exactly.
Right?
John left, and now I want to know what 1 book he read.
It was probably Buzzard's Bowl.
I need to read. Kay's not here for the Harlequins either.
I was reading the comment. I mean, I like romance has to be done well in order for me to really, really dive into it. Same. Or it's got to be so absurd that it's just funny.
I'm not against it. It just has to be well done.
Yeah.
Which it usually isn't.
So I've got a work wife, and my work wife sends me like book talk stuff, and there's this it's like Atomic Apple Pie, I think is the creator or something like that, and she reads like awful romance lines like describing women's bodies like in just atrocious ways, and it's like the book talker has like a spray bottle that she'll spray the camera for like no.
Yep.
Bad.
Love it. Bad. That's awesome. You'll have to send me one.
I get those like every other day.
Yeah. They make good TikTok fodder, at least.
Apparently there is enough just trash out there to just fill. You can create a channel behind it. Like it's just I don't know why you'd want to, but you can.
Some people, I mean,
I read to enjoy.
If you're struggling for content, now you know.
Yeah, I'll turn it saucy. Yeah. Not me personally. I don't have the body for that. But
Hi Ray, welcome to this conversation. Yeah, I was thinking that too, Derek. Like Kay reading Grimdark might actually make it scarier. Because
it could be. That could be great. Yeah, the 3 people on BookTube that I know that I want to be narrators is Alan, Mike, and Kay.
I mean, you're getting one of the 3 this year.
Yeah, I know. But I've already read it. So it's going to take... Well, no, I haven't already read it. Okay. We'll see. We'll see if I get to enjoy the audiobook. Because last year, I tried doing like a reread right after I'd done an audio. It didn't go well.
Yeah, I feel a little bad because I would like to listen to the audio of the blade itself at some point.
Pacey?
Yep, I've heard amazing things, and I want to hear that Glockta performance.
His Glockta is amazing.
Hey,
his
Andrew.
Logan Nine Fingers is also great.
Yeah.
Has Andrew told you what we're called now? The Andrews?
No.
We're an audacity of Andrews.
Love it.
Yeah,
approved.
We're hopefully gonna start doing stuff here soon.
That would be amazing.
I'm waiting to get poked. It's gonna be me, Andy, and Andrew.
Nice.
the audacity of Andrews.
Hey, what's up? I love that. That's a good one. I know you guys were throwing back and forth some ideas earlier.
Yeah. It'll be fun. Whenever that gets off the ground, I'm so excited.
TJ Kloon's Life of Puppets. Nice. Hi, Derry. I'm so far behind. I apologize, guys. Theo doing his hit and run thing that he does on live streams.
What up, Theo?
Hi, Britton. What is like the fifth element?
The sci-fi that you were reading.
I have not read the Fifth Element, so I can't speak to that.
It's a movie.
See. Fifth season. Oh my gosh, my brain's not working. That's where my brain went. I don't know what is movies.
Have you not seen The Fifth Element?
I don't think so. It sounds familiar. It sounds like something my husband would have tried to get me to watch at one point. I'm sorry, Andrew. Maybe you could do
like one of my top 5 movies in existence.
Noted.
It's Bruce Willis, Chris Tucker, Gary Oldman. What's that actress's name?
Why do I feel like I've seen this?
It's got a blue chick singing opera in space.
I think it's a movie Ben made me watch. I don't remember it at all.
Made you watch? You mean encourage you to experience?
Okay. Well, my husband has different taste in film than I do sometimes. And so he's like, hey, Tori, we need to watch this movie. And I'm like, okay.
Thank you, Andrew. It's Mila Jovovich.
We'll get...
She has multi-pass.
I don't know what that means. But yeah.
You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the Merediths. No, wait. There's nudity in that movie. Never mind. No, wait. Yeah, we're going to do a thing on Andrew's channel. I'll talk to him about it. We're going to get you to watch The Fifth Element. I don't know. I haven't even asked his permission. I'm just saying we're going to do it.
We're just planning.
I have the audacity, okay? Listen, It's been a long day.
Hey, Shad. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of this chat. Really,
in terms of NHL, our main team in the house didn't make the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. And then the team that we've been rooting for like 20 years, the Avalanche, are about to get knocked out of the first round.
Sounds like a rough time in hockey for you right now.
Sadness.
I'm sorry.
Avs won last year, but I don't. My wife thinks it's fixed. A key defensive player got removed on a technicality that she thinks it was a technicality. I don't know what a Penguins Dan is, Shad. Fan. Okay.
Fan. I'm keeping an eye on you, Neitha. Don't worry. I know everything.
I mean, I submitted all 5 of my books.
Of course you did. Like day 3, probably.
No, it was by week 2. Week 2. I got 14 out of the 15 points. I wasn't able to make one bonus point stick.
Andrew.
What? I'm on the opposing team. You should be happy.
Do you know how many points I got for my team?
15?
15.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Considering I didn't plan my TBR to fit that readathon at all, I'm fine with it.
Well, whose fault is that?
Oh, I'm not at making excuses. I'm just saying I put zero effort.
Your captain is on your side. She's being very nice to you right now.
Whoop, whoop. That's because she's an amazing human being.
Andrew heard you all the way in Florida being unexcited about audio.
I've actually bugged his house a little bit. So like I'm hoping to pick him up recording it so I don't actually have to spend money. I can just kind of put in the earbuds.
You're gonna have a pirated
listen to
copy.
Alan swear, and I'll get the deluxe uncut commentary of Alan doing his audiobook. I'm so excited for it.
Derry's making me feel bad, so I will clarify that, Andrew, we can still be friends even though you only got 14 points in the readathon.
Yeah. What am I being yelled at for?
For the how many books you read or how many points you got for the
readathon. I'm completely unrepentant and unapologetic.
I'm sorry, Anitha. Okay, so before I get completely sucked into the chat over here, we had a very interesting conversation today that I wanted to bring and make public because, that's the kind of friend that I am. So, and just to clarify for everyone, I did get Andrew's permission prior to this. So I'm not putting him, I can see everybody in the chat like, what's she doing? But we were talking about stresses and anxieties of being a reviewer and the pressures that we put on ourselves oftentimes about, these review copies that we do, and especially within the indie community. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I think it's something that I have seen a lot of people chatting about here and there, and especially in, private messages on both sides from the authors and reviewers, that there's just a lot of pressure and anxiety on both sides of the person, like, oh, the author's like, oh my gosh, this person is reading my book, and and then on the opposite side, the reviewer's like, oh my gosh, I hope I like it,
Right, yeah.
So how do you handle, I'm going to just kind of open up for you to talk about whatever you want to, but how do you handle the pressures of reviewing? Is there pressure to reviewing?
There's so much pressure. And it's all self-inflicted. So I feel a lot of pressure, and I get some anxiety from it. Like I've messaged you in a panic about, and Andrew, about beta reading.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm beta, like I don't pull punches.
Mm-hmm.
And if I've straight up messaged people like, I don't think your book is ready yet.
Yeah.
And then like I feel awful for giving my opinion like that. I feel so much guilt, but at the same time, I want people to succeed. And even when I get arcs, like all the time, I poor Cal. Like when I got my arc for No Land for Heroes, I would just send her screenshots of all the typos I could find, just so that she could fix them.
Yeah.
And it's thankfully it's been fixed and updated and stuff like that. Yeah, I know. I feel sometimes like I'll start doing it, and like as soon as I get a review copy and I start reading, I'll just start sending stuff to the author, and then like it'll occur to me 10 minutes later of, are you okay that I'm doing this?
Yep.
Like, I didn't even ask. I just be like, typo, this doesn't make sense, typo. Yep. And like the book's already been published. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
And I should stop doing it after the book is published, because it's actually a pet peeve of mine to get a second edition of a book after it's already been released. But yeah, I digress. Unless I just start with the second edition, then I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But there is some intrinsic fear, because I'm very empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, and so I don't like hurting people's feelings, and I don't like confrontation either. So I want to like your book, but if I don't like your book, I feel the need to be honest about it. But at the same time, I know that if I am honest and too blunt about something, I can come across as abrasive. And on my platform, which I've been very lucky to grow a very healthy platform. I mean, I have an ability to affect people's sales, which, you know, when I love a book is fantastic. If I don't love a book, that makes me nervous because I always want people to succeed. Like when I DNF John's book, which I just recently went back and reread, and gave it 4.5 stars. John Palladino. And I made sure to send him to people who I thought would enjoy his book. And he found great success there. I'm not going to take all the credit for that, but like I was like, hey, maybe go here, go here, go here. And then I just watched him go and do his thing. And then I came back later and I really enjoyed it. But I feel anxiety, especially if it's a book I'm excited about and it's an author that I've loved tons of their books. Like if I've read more than 3 or 4 of your books and I've loved them all, if I hit a 5th book and all of a sudden I'm not, Bad News Bears not having a good time. It's just, I feel terrible that I can't give you positive support. Especially because, if I have an arc and I don't get to it in a timely fashion, it could have been feedback that I could have given the author, even though it's not in beta anymore, to maybe think about some things. And so I don't know. There's a lot of implied power that I don't necessarily hold, but at the same time, I'm nervous that I might hold. And so that can, and luckily my audience doesn't fully agree with my tastes. Like a lot of my audience is there just to see me act a fool on YouTube, which is great. But there are some people there who vibe with what I vibe. I know that, if I'm talking to certain reviewers and they say, I'm like, how's that book? I was just about to buy it, or I've just bought it. And they're like, it's 3 stars. I'll cancel my order. Like I'll be like, no, thanks. And so there's some implied stuff there that can kind of give me anxiety. And then there's also the need to keep up, which I forgot I had an email. I forgot I had a YouTube email for like a year. And then boom, like there was like 30 review requests and I accepted about 20 of them and they all just showed up. It was
and is that the stack you're working through right now?
I mean, sort of, kind of. I've probably read just this year. I'd have to go and crunch the official numbers, but we're what I brought to hit. So I've read about 16 to 20 review copies this year already. Like I do about 4 to 5 a month.
That's a lot. I do 1 a month, maybe.
Well, that's why I'm in this kind of slump right now, is because I feel obligated. There was this whole discussion that went around Twitter the other day that did not help my anxiety. Because I already feel bad enough that I'm not reading people's books in a timely fashion. Lo and behold, you call what I'm doing stealing, despite the fact that I fully intend. Like, if I don't get to a review copy, I will at least go and buy an ebook to just, even if I don't intend to read it for 3 years, I'm going to go and support you for providing me with that copy. And I hated that discussion. It drove me up the wall because it made my anxiety go up here and made me feel like garbage. Because despite the fact that I'm trying to, support indie authors and connect readers with, potentially new favorite reads, I'm human. I burn out. I get distracted. I have kids. I have a wife. I have a job. I've got friends. I've got stuff I want to do. And I already read 13 to 14 a month. And if a third of what I'm reading is already review copies, I feel trapped. And so I just want to read what I want to read.
I mean, I think too, like reading a review copy is a different it is a different experience than just picking a book off your shelf and reading it because you feel like it. Now you may love the review copy. It's not like a question of whether or not you can love it as much as any other read. It's just, it's a different reading experience. And sometimes you need a shift away from that, where it's just a book you're reading with no expectations, because then that pressure isn't there.
No, Ellen, it wasn't directed at me personally. It was a shotgun blast to the whole.
It was all over Twitter for like a week.
Yeah, he went after everybody. It was a blanket statement.
Yeah.
So technically.
Yeah. Which, and I know we talked about this a little bit on Boxer today, but I, coming from both sides of being a reviewer and also being an author, and what I was frustrated about on that tweet is how many incredible, wonderful authors came forward and were like, no. Like, there were so many authors on that thread who were supporting the reviewers and saying, you know what, when I send a book to somebody, if they get to it, that's awesome. But I'm not sitting here like, you know, gonna send somebody to their house if they don't. Like, there's none of that. And that's when I sent out the phased copies. The other thing that I think people don't realize is, first of all, I would never want somebody to read my book and force themselves through it, right? That would make me feel really sad, because for their sake, I don't want them to have that kind of a reading experience, regardless of if it's my book or somebody else's. And the other thing is, if I send a review copy to someone and they don't get to it for a year, and then all of a sudden they read it and they love it and they put it up everywhere, that's just continuing my momentum for my book. So I don't see that necessarily as a negative. It's just, hey, whenever you get to it is cool with me.
I mean, they sat on my shelf for a good 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, and that's fine. I wasn't knocking on your door like, hey, Andrew. Hey. But yeah, I mean, I get the pressure of because we want, obviously, like, we want to help. And I know, because I've had the same thing where I do reviews or I do author interviews or talk about books on my channel, and the author will come up to me afterwards and say, I sold like 20 books that day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome, but also kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it was great. Like, I'm like, yes, like,
yes.
You know, they could spawn reviews off of that, and it can help gain momentum.
Right.
I've had a couple people tell me that. I've also had the flip side where I've had really like, well, I'm an award-winning author. What do you mean you gave my book 3 stars? It was like, sorry, dude. Like, it wasn't for me.
It's not for everyone. Alan did a great short video about this recently that I absolutely loved. The appearance of Cozy Alan.
No, the best thing about that video was just the pan away from Alan
to the dead fireplace,
to the just cold, lifeless fireplace, and then back to the big screen TV. Pure comedy gold. I lost it. Great message that it
was so good, and it's so. Not every book is for everybody. Like, that's why you have polar opposite opinions on really famous, well-beloved series, right? Because there's no universal formula. If there was, authors would be a lot richer, right? And
there's a thread going on Twitter right now. Somebody posted like, oh, you want a side hustle, a quick way to make money?
Yes.
Self-publish your book. All the authors was like, yeah, I've made 74 cents and I've invested it in 5 years. I'm going to go to the bank and take out my $5. Like,
yep.
I died.
Right. And one of the things I love about the community is when tweets like that come out, seeing how quickly the community can like just rip them to shreds. I mean, like, it's great. It's true. Yep. Yeah, it's something that I mean, I even struggled with that as my channel started getting bigger this last year, because I was not expecting the growth that I've had on the channel. And so I kind of had to, well, I had to kind of figure out what I was doing faster than I thought I was going to, which was good in some ways. Yeah. But I just, I kind of went through this learning period of like, do I talk about my DNFs? Do I completely go radio silent on them? Do I talk about, because, and I think there's a difference between being a positive booktuber, which I think I would hope at least, chat can disagree if they want to, but that you and I definitely more fall into that we want to be positive forces in the community, right? But that doesn't mean that we have to love everything. Those two things are not the same. Yeah. And I really had a talk with myself this last few months and was like, we need to be honest, because the integrity of, I mean, you know, Alan's a great example of that. He doesn't love everything he reads, and he's got a great tight-knit community, and, you know, people love his reviews because they know he's going to be honest, right? Yeah. And he's not like mean mostly.
Depends if it depends if he's put a target on you and he wants to pick on you today.
If there's a holy war going on, no holds barred.
It's funny because a lot of the times, so the way I don't track a DNF, and basically my brain info dump or just dumps. It just dumps it out. And so if I DNF something and I don't talk about it on my channel, chances are I forgot.
Yeah.
Basically my brain was just like, you didn't like that book, move on. And if I haven't written it down, because I tried creating like a Goodreads tab of DNFs.
It's
and
Goodreads.
Then, like, I couldn't get it to work.
No, because it just shows it as read. And you're like, but I didn't read it all. And I feel like I'm being dishonest by saying that I've read it. Yeah. Let's see.
I'm laughing at Rogue's comment.
Complain about giving someone's paper an A-. Yep. Yep. Thanks, Trisha. Hi, Trisha.
Thanks, Trisha.
Yeah, beta.
Trisha's book that I felt I had such anxiety betaing for Patricia.
It's so hard when it's a friend. It really is.
It really is. Because like I messaged Andrew, I was like, Am I being mean?
Am I being mean?
Am I being mean?
Yeah. It is hard though, because, and I actually like when people approach me and want me to edit or beta read for them or anything like that, I really try to get super clear on what level of feedback they're looking for, because I'm like, okay, I love you and I can go like full on edit if you want me to. If you don't want that, tell me now and I will like, you know, dial it back a little bit. But that's why choosing the people that you want to review, beta read, everything carefully matters, because you're looking for trusted opinions, right? So if I send, you know, a book to you and say, hey, Andrew, will you beta read this for me? I know that you, regardless of what the feedback is, that you have the desire to see this book be the best version of itself because you care, right? So coming into it with that mentality, I think is really important, and not seeing it as, it's not an attack. It's not ever like, it's just, hey, this is somebody you trust. You asked them to read your book, you know, take what's helpful and leave what isn't.
It also helps if you know your reviewer. Like, and I'm not saying you don't need to know them personally, but if you follow the channel and you see what they're positive on, don't send anonymous emails. Just be like, I love your channel. I see you've got 3,500 subs. I've watched a bunch of your videos. You've clearly never watched my channel. Like, you've just given me analytics, and you're like, here, have my dinosaur romance. Like, no thanks. That's not what I'm into. I have
swoon-worthy fantasy for you.
I had ChatGPT write me a book. Would you review it? No.
Yeah. I know what I'll do from now on. Anytime I get someone who recommends or sends me an email that wants me to read a romance, I'm going to say, you know what? That's not a good fit for me right now, but I know this great booktuber named Nico who would absolutely love it.
You should totally. In fact, I can probably pull his email address for you. I think it's listed on it.
He's going to be like, what is this? Tori said.
Poor Nico. It was funny. Like, Nico was here in town, and he was just like, this person reached out to me. And this book sounds awful. And I just reach on my shelf. I'm like, you mean this one? And he's just like, oh, you've got it. I was like, yeah, I've already read it. He's like, well, what did you think? I was like, I gave it about 4 stars. He's like, okay, I'll accept.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing that I think sometimes like the authors talk to each other, right?
Yeah.
So do the reviewers,
Yeah.
right? Because we talk to each other about, you know, hey, like again, trusted sources. If Kay is like, oh my gosh, I read this book and loved it, I'm way more likely, because I trust her opinion. So I'm way more likely to go and like, you know, accept a review request or buy the book even. I've dropped so much money on the recommendations of my friends. Like, so
Same.
don't, yeah, that's powerful
Same.
stuff, right?
I would never have known about Derek's Voidwalker collection that I'm buddy reading with Kay in September.
I love the color palette of that cover so much.
It's gorgeous.
It's so pretty. We love
I've read the first 2 pages and I'm intrigued.
Hey, Matt.
But I would have never known about that without Nico.
Yeah.
Yep. What up, Go?
Okay, I want to catch up on some of these.
No, you don't.
I do.
Embrace the chaos.
I want to make the people in the chat feel welcome, Andrew.
Okay, fine.
Because I'm nice.
Oh. Are you saying I'm not?
T.
You literally watched me straighten it.
That was a little while ago, so nice, Ray. You will definitely get your 2nd star. Nice, Britton. That's awesome.
I just recorded a video today where Grouchy Andrew came out, which
I'm
is
so excited. I can't wait.
Well, luckily, like I'm like, okay, I am in fantasy burnout. Like every time I I'm like, guys, I'm in fantasy burnout. Like I don't know if that's what's causing this. I've loved everything else by these authors. Cranky.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, if you're not in the right headspace to review a book and you have the option to have some time and space to yourself and recharge, do it, because you're not doing the book any favors and you're not doing yourself any favors by like, I'll just push through this burnout and read this book anyways, you know?
Unfortunately, I do that to myself way more than I should. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, Derry's got a good point here too, and kind of goes along with the idea that I know if I don't like a book, that there are some people who will like the things I didn't like about it, and they may pick it up. So it's not a dead end by any means.
I've got some people who watch I think I've got people who watch my channel who know that if I like a book, they're not going to like it. And if I don't like a book, they're going to like it.
Exactly. So when you put out your comments on some of the books and you're like, this didn't land for me because whatever, you'll probably still sell books for them, because there are people like, oh, Andrew hated it, I'm all over it.
I talk about my opinions on Tress of the Emerald Sea in my upcoming video. I didn't give it a lot of stars.
I mean, I've been hearing a lot of things about the 2nd Secret Project book that a lot of people were.
It's not high on my list of things to get to.
I love how now I pull up this Patricia Meredith comment. Thanks, Trisha. Create, market as DNF, then edit your book. That's a good tip.
A lot of work.
I was going to say that's
it's a great tip.
Not that hard, Andrew.
I'm incredibly lazy.
I mean, Goodreads is a mess anyway, to be fair, but
I didn't like. It was funny. Matt's fantasy reviews. Like I saw him do some stuff in his like written reviews. I'm like, how did you do that? Like that's so cool. And he was just like, dude, it's just HTML code. And I was just like, HTML code still works on Goodreads? I didn't know.
Apparently. Hey, Joe.
I got my associates in HTML and CSS.
That would be a great readathon. Just saying.
Oh, God. That doesn't help me.
You already have most of your friends' recommendations, so.
It's all flipping right here.
I needed to unhaul some books, Rogue, and it felt really good to do it. I won't lie. It was a relief.
I've got a stack to unhaul about yay high.
Nice. Andrew unhaul video. You heard it here first.
I'm thinking about filming it. I need to figure out how I'm going to word. Because I always feel bad about, like, do you struggle with this? Like, if somebody personalizes and sends a book to you,
Oh my gosh.
You feel bad about unhauling
Yes. I have a stack of books. Like, I have a few books that I've put aside that I'm like, I literally don't know what to do right now about this because it's personalized and it's signed and it's beautiful and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, there's a great message. It's like, thank you for all you do for the indie community. I've read your book. I'll probably never reread it again. And that nice note, I'm out of shelf space. What do I do?
I know. And that, yeah. And like,
I've got two that I've already done my written reviews for.
And that's the frustrating part is just that's the like the reality, you know, like you can only do so much.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking about doing is if I see one of my friends mention that they're going to be picking up one of those books, I may reach out to them and just say, hey, like I have a copy of it. Would you like me to send it to you? It's signed, you know, and also then I'm, you know, helping somebody else read it and they might love it and, you know, plaster it all over the internet. So
they might.
So yeah.
Stop unhauling books. Unhaul is not a word. Unhaul is 100% a word, especially when I'm the only reader in the house. I'm just saying.
That's true, Derek. Like, yeah, having a yes man is not what you want as an author. Like, I intentionally try to avoid those because it's not, because I'd rather hear it from people I trust than the general public and suddenly be getting all these 2 and 3 stars and be like, oh, what'd you guys not tell me that for? True story, Andrew. Okay. Sorry, Derry. I'm a Slytherin. I'm working on it. I'm
Ravenclaw.
I know. You guys are always so proud of it too.
I am. I'm very proud of being a Ravenclaw. Well, because growing up, I wanted to be a Gryffindor, and then I realized that they were just a bunch of yes men and a bunch of followers, and they were fodder for the field. And yeah, I was just like, no, that's not me.
Gryffindors in the chat are going to come for you right now.
I don't care. You're quite literally loyal to a fault.
I'd say Slytherins fall into that camp too, though. Just in a different way. Yeah, don't even get me started. Don't even. Honestly.
Comics. At least I'm logical and bookish. And inquisitive.
Let's see. I don't
know. Another Andrew. That's a Ravenclaw. Hufflepuffs are cool too. Hufflepuffs don't get enough love.
It's true. I totally agree with that. Yes, Kay. It is now.
Darius says Gryffindors are the jocks of the magic world.
Kay representing some Hufflepuff in the chat. Brittany
yes.
Hufflepuff. Nice. Derry. Patricia. Katie, you're Gryffindor, aren't you? Katie is awesome. So.
Do I know Katie?
Nuclear Katie. I don't know. She's in Alan's Discord. She's in Keymark. She's on my team for the readathon.
The name is familiar.
She's a nuclear engineering student. She's graduating in like 20 days, I think.
So you're about to have a ton of free time. Cool.
Right? Yep, she is. That's what I thought. Oh, here you, Andrew, you better walk it back a little bit here.
No, but that makes sense.
I know. I think Gryffindors are all right.
I'm not saying there's anything bad about Gryffindor. I just realized
you feel superior because you're a Ravenclaw.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. See? I get it.
100%. I'm currently playing Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm a Ravenclaw. What?
Shocked.
Oh, yeah. I love that game.
I really want to try it, but I know that if I get it and play it, that I will do nothing else for like.
It has been a struggle. Like, it's to the point whenever my kid wakes up from a nap, I'm just glaring at him. I'm like, I just sat down 40 minutes ago.
Yep. I mean,
Oh, Derry's dropping wisdom.
She's something. I mean, it's Derry, so I can only smack talk so much.
She's a rival team captain.
See, the thing is, I know it's been really funny though, because in this readathon, like everybody who's a captain, we're all like fairly close friends. And so the smack talk has been like, yeah, I'm totally gonna win. Like it's been really vanilla.
I've seen some the Grim Grape snack talk when that emerged was just god tier. Chef's kiss. So good.
Yeah, some of my Beanie Barbarians are much better at smack talk than I am, so I just kind of let them handle it.
It depends on if I'm feeling feisty that day or not. Like, have my kids kept me up? If not, I'm too late for smack talk. If I'm well rested, caffeinated, and I've had a donut for breakfast, you better watch out.
Look out.
Yeah, look out, because I'm gonna bounce off the walls.
I have not actually, Britton.
I have. I've read all 4 books.
Andrew's read everything.
I have not.
It's true, Derry. You've read everything.
I've read a lot.
Okay, so what is a major series that you haven't gotten to yet that you're really looking forward to?
Sharp.
Okay. Cornwall?
Yep.
Nice.
Sharp and the Utrecht stuff.
Series?
Huh?
How many books are in that series?
I don't want to talk about it.
They're not very long, though, at least.
Yeah, but there's like 21, so it doesn't matter anyway. There's also Wars of Light and Shadow. That's a big one. Yep. Do I have everything that I'm at? Well, no, I've technically started that one. On my shelves, it would probably be Wars of Light and Shadow and Sharp.
Okay, nice.
Which Sharp is moving further and further up the TBR as my fantasy burnout gets worse and worse.
Yeah. Have you read? Because you've read the
I read Warlord.
That one, yes.
Yeah, I loved Warlord. I don't think. Yeah, whatever. Did I nitpick Warlord to death, Alan? No, I didn't.
I mean, Alan also told everyone on the internet that I hated Shogun. So, I mean,
to be fair, I did nitpick I had been nitpicking Con Ingledon.
Yes, a little bit. But you know what, Andrew? Not every book is for everyone.
Well, so the thing with Con Ingledon and the thing with the Conqueror series, at least with Lords of the Bow, is what I did. Yeah, I know. There's not a lot of Genghis Khan lore out there. Literally, like I started digging into the history because I was like, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And so most of the writings of Genghis Khan were destroyed. Yeah. And so what remains is spotty. So he had to take a lot of liberties to fill in those gaps. And so whenever something doesn't make sense, it's because he's sticking to the history. Now he's played with timelines, but he's sticking to a historical point, but we don't know how we got there.
Right.
And so a lot of the times it's the blending of fiction and history that sometimes doesn't quite line up.
Yeah. I just read, like, I know logically that historical fiction is real, but to me, I go into those books very similarly to the way that I do fantasy, because if it happened that long ago, it basically is for me, right? Yeah. Like it's a world that I have to learn, and it's characters that aren't familiar to me because they didn't live in this time period with names that I may or may not be able to pronounce or remember. So like it's very similar. And that's one of the reasons why when I really get into a serious burnout, usually I can't read historical fiction either, because there's kind of too much of a similarity, because they're vast worlds, you know, usually. Yeah. We know, Evie. We love you.
Good night.
There was one I wanted to pull. Yeah, I agree with, I wanted to highlight this really quickly. That's my thing with Smack Talk is like, I struggle with it because I never know how somebody's going to take it. And sometimes it doesn't, like, I don't know. It's weird. Cal has a point.
Yeah, that's true. But sometimes also fiction doesn't make sense either. Winnowing Flame. Anyway. I don't know. I didn't.
Who's the author for
Jen
that one?
Williams.
Yeah. Yep. Is that the second or third book? Or no, that's the trilogy. That's the trilogy. Yeah. Ninth Reign is the first one, right?
Yeah, Ninth Reign. Yep. Interesting premise and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't love the execution.
I never like when I feel like a book has become a brain teaser. Like if I'm struggling to figure things out and I feel like the author
Malazan.
See, but here's the difference. Like I shouldn't like Malazan, but I do because of the characters. If you don't give me good characters and you're making it really confusing,
okay,
like I don't know, like
I'm glad you like Malazan.
And I mean, I hate to bring him up again, but Gene Wolfe. Nope.
I had the books on the shelf, and then I was looking at him, and I started listening to some conversations around the book, and I'm like, I'm not gonna like this.
Nope. My husband loves him and has like all of his books on his shelf, and I'm like, but he loves that kind of like, you know, those metal mind puzzles that you can never get apart no matter how hard you try. That's what reading a Gene Wolfe book feels like to me. No, and it's just frustrating. Makes me angry.
Like I said, I'm very lazy. So if you make me work for my read, like more than I'm willing to invest.
Yeah. I was going to say, Evie's on a lot of my sprints too. Hey, Chris. Are you holding Boudica in your
book? Boudica.
Nice.
I've actually got the first book on audio.
I want to read that one. That one sounds really good.
And Kay, I am currently undecided.
If you're going to finish it?
Yeah.
Because how far did you get?
Again, I hit burnout right as I hit House of Chains.
Yep.
And so it was just awful timing.
That's right. Because I remember telling you, like, if you're don't.
Yeah. I was just like, I started reading it and I was just like,
If
and I was like, I want to like this right now. And I hit eject very early because my brain was retaining nothing. It was just water in and out. And I was just like, no.
Well, when you're burned out, something of that scope is just impossible. Yeah. That's why, like, I'm kind of flirting with the edges of burnout right now too. And so, you know, there's a couple of bigger series that people have recommended that I am going to love. And I'm like, I know I probably will. This is not the time for me to start them. Like, this is not the month where I'm going to start Dandelion Dynasty or Sun Eater or like, that's just a bad idea right now.
Sun Eater's not really complex. It's beautiful prose, well written, and it's got some complex ideas, but it's explored in a space opera kind of Star Wars way, at least currently right now. I don't know. I'm only 3 books in. I still need to read the last 2, so I could be entirely wrong.
Yeah.
But
I agree, Cal. Bye, Andrew.
Bye.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do when I'm struggling a little bit is I don't commit to anything. Like
I've got my TBR for May or my NBR for May right here, and they're all massive books. I don't know if I can make the camera do the thing.
Oh, yep.
They're all just massive books. Although not this one. This one's in timeout.
I'm trying to think right here. I think this is my like TBR.
Gardens of the Moon. I need to get to Season of Kings. I was provided that as an arc.
Yep, so was I.
And then
I'm excited. That one I'm really excited about, and it's kind of perfect timing because it's short. And I think it's.
I didn't realize how short it was. I read Oathbreaker by A.J. Rediger.
Okay, what'd you think of it?
He showed promise in Oathbreaker. There were some stuff that was a bit on the rougher side. And I wanted to continue reading his work. But at the same time, like by the time he offered me an arc, I already had 20 books ahead of me.
Sure.
And I was just like, yeah, I'll take it.
Maybe it'll be like a good, hey, here's some space. And then you'll get to it later and it'll be a better read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal. He at least in that last book, he was brutal in Oathbreaker.
I'm excited. I know it's grimdark. And that's pretty much all I know about it, which I try to go in. Do you try to go into your review copies like super blind as like other than just the tiny little synopsis that the author gives you?
Usually so sometimes I'll either know a gist or I'll have seen other people read it, or like I'll read the synopsis of what's offered and I'll yay or nay it. But other than that, I don't typically do a lot of research into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm very just wish-washy when it comes to accepting. Like I've accepted a review copy because it had dwarves in it. Like,
I mean, that's fair.
literally, the whole reason I accepted it was they were like, "Hey, it's got dwarves," and I was like, "Okay, I'll take it."
Do you want to see what I started the audiobook of that I just got the review copy for? That I'm loving the first couple chapters of it.
Was it Heliotrope? It was Heliotrope.
Yep.
The beginning of that book is so incredible. Like he's doing mosaics. He's doing mosaics.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful opening. I loved it. And I didn't realize, like, I'm the type of person who's gotten really used to those really like punchy, fantasy action openers. And I didn't realize how long it had been until I had just read something that was like a beautiful opening to a world like that. And I was like, I have missed this. This is something that I'm really loving right now. So I'm excited to finish that one.
I literally finished it, and 2 days later, the audio came out.
Well, so the audio, I'm trying to remember the name of the narrator. And as you know, I struggle with like audio is a struggle for me. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to go on walks and listen to this audiobook because I think that'll work better. And it has been. But the guy who's reading it, it sounds like you're being read a fantasy story by your grandfather. It is the most lovely experience. I'm just like, I'm so here for it. So if anybody's looking for a good audiobook, you should go check out Heliotrope because I'm loving it so far.
Yes, I gave it 5 stars, 4.5, 5 stars.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Really, there's a lot of detail as you get into it, but great magic system, great characters, great arcs.
Mm-hmm. Well, I already love that the main character is like this kind of has been, war hero that is now just a stonemason. And I'm like, I love a reluctant like war veteran character.
Oh, it's so good.
They're so good.
He is one of the most understated characters ever. Like, he doesn't brag about anything. He doesn't go out of his way to be awesome. He's very matter of fact of, hey, if something needs to be done, I'm just going to go do it. And then mum's the word.
Mm-hmm.
He's understatedly awesome.
Hey, Chris.
What up?
Yeah. So Derry, let me, you might be able to summarize this better because I have only read 2 chapters of it. How would you explain Heliotrope to Derry?
In a nutshell,
you do the hard work.
Heliotrope is basically a book about a retired soldier turned stonemason. His kingdom has outlawed the use of basically any kinds of magic, and he comes from a lineage of basically mages. And so, he's just going about his life. And what ended up happening is there were 2 countries at war. And they raided each other and they stole children. Well, he lost his children, his family, his wife and daughter were killed in a raid, and his son went missing. And then he stumbles across a boy and kind of brings him underneath his wing. And then there is a coup at the castle, and he takes a royal ward and flees the kingdom. And it's just a story about survival, found family, rediscovery of magic, and rebuilding broken people.
That was an excellent pitch.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is in a nutshell.
That's why I asked you to do that, because you're way better at pitching books than I am. My reviews, I'm always like, so liked this character. It was great.
I mean, I do a lot of the same thing too.
I know, Cal, I'm telling you, like, I'm seriously feeling some Western fantasy lately, so it's probably going to be sooner rather than later.
Millie is awesome. That's
Millie sounds like she is going to be a great time.
Millie Berry. Mildred.
It worked. There she goes. It is really good, Derry. Like, the opening chapter might be one of my favorite like fantasy openers I've read in a long time. It was really good.
I straight up messaged Palmer and was just like, I need a sequel to this. Because it's meant to be a standalone. The door is cracked open if she wants to return to it. Because she needed something to distract her from, because she kind of wrote her Star Children saga through like book 4 or 5. And then like went back and read what she had written. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so she needs to rework some of what she had written. And she needed a break. Yeah. And so she wrote Heliotrope, and Heliotrope is so good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I kind of hit a burnout a little bit writing wise this last month. And I was like, ugh, like I'm writing through some tough scenes right now and I needed a break. And I went to a completely different tone to write a short story. Yeah, I'm working on it right now. And I'm loving the switch up because it's first person narrative, super snarky narrator. Some like I'm playing with a completely different setting and stuff. And it's really fun.
Nice.
So sometimes you really need it. It's like that with reading too. Like throw something completely different in there, and it's amazing how fast that will rekindle the engine. I mean, I hate to be basic, but Glocta.
It's got to be Glocta.
But after that, I actually am a massive fan of the Motley Crew of Northerners.
Define Motley Crew, because I don't remember them enough.
So
you're talking Logan's about Logan's crew.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're talking about Three Trees, Dogman.
Three Trees, Dogman, Black Dow.
Dow.
No spoilers. Yeah. Yeah, I love them. Like they were great.
Have you met Shivers yet?
No. I just started book 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Logan as well. I'm holding judgment until I know where Abercrombie is going with his Bloody Nine thing. But I like Logan. His reaction to the city was great. That was very relatable.
Yeah. He's just like, what the?
If Logan is anything, say he's cool. Yeah, I haven't met Shivers yet, but I am about 2 chapters.
All Shivers.
Lit RPG team. Ooh, nice.
Nice. I'm starting to, one of my patients really wants me to get into more lit RPGs. So I've got one called Threadbare that I'm checking out right now. It's literally about a sentient teddy bear.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. There's like 3 books. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah. I need to hear about it.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Dying of curiosity.
Because he was just like, so there's this teddy bear, and I was like, you can stop at teddy bear. Like teddy bear. That sound, because right now my daughter's in like the teddy bear phase.
Like the Paddington bear and
no, like she won't go to bed without her teddy.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And so like
that's fair.
Like, audiobook about a sentient teddy bear. Yes, please. As long as it's not like Ted, we're good to go.
I've never seen Supernatural, which is going to get me in trouble, but I know. I just live under a rock, Andrew.
I need like 10 seconds to process that.
You can have it. Doing okay?
No, I'm not. Because you haven't seen. Oh, hey, Murphy. What's up?
Sorry, Murphy. I mean, it's been a great discussion. What are you reading right now? I'm in the middle of Murphy's last reading vlog right now. Murphy's vlogs always look so like cool and professional, and I'm just out here like sitting on my
vlog, I loved how you started your first law vlog and like zoomed in on like chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would never think to do that. I would just turn on the camera and be like, "What's up, guys? I'm Andrew.
Reading this book.
I'm getting ready to read Legend of Deathwalker. Let's dive in. Watch me read it. Like,
okay, Andrew, I need an Andrew vlog now. It needs to happen. See, it's really funny though, because I just kind of, that was a lot of what I did in my Stormlight vlogs, which are old now, but it was a lot of.
They have like 15K views.
My top, yeah, my Way of Kings is at 17,000.
Doing fine.
I remember coming back to YouTube and seeing the views because it was, doing well, but in that 10 months I was gone, I came back and I was like, oh my gosh. Whoa.
I've got content where like I'll go back and be like, what do you mean that's got 3,000 views? I haven't looked at that in 10 months.
See, Chris, is this like the supernatural, like, oh, just get to the 8th book and then it gets really good? Like, just
no. Okay. This is the first 5 seasons are really good.
Okay.
And then it gets a little cheesy, which I think is even better because they lean hardcore into the cheese. It's great. I love it. Because it was supposed to end after 6 seasons, and then it was one of those things.
Fan.
It was a Don Quixote. All right.
How's that going? Like, I love the story. I'm afraid of the book. So how is it going?
I remember some weird cartoon about Don Quixote from like the 90s.
There were a lot of things that happened in the 90s, Andrew.
And I just remember this weird kind of old man with giant mustachios running around tilting at windmills.
I mean, it's a pretty iconic scene. So
you've offended the Murphy Napier.
Oh no, what did I do?
Why the face?
We just giant chunky classics. I'm like,
I mean, to be
fair,
I
have to be in a very particular mood.
I got Count of Monte Cristo. I got about 25% into that, and I was just like, "This is a good stopping point. I'll come back to you next year."
Right.
I'll read this over 4 years.
I read Wuthering Heights this last year. I think I read. What else did I read for classics? I've read Les Mis because that's one of my husband's favorite books.
I haven't. I have probably read.
I love classics. Don't get me wrong.
I've probably read 5 classics in my entire life.
She has a point. Yeah, classics are denser though. Like it's a type of writing style that if you're not reading it on a regular basis can be really hard to immerse in, I think.
I feel like I read some of Don Quixote when I was a teenager.
What classics have you read so far?
Oh, God, most of them are probably Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie.
Sure.
I DNF Dracula.
Classics. You DNF Dracula?
Oh, God. So, okay, when I went into Dracula, everyone's like, it hasn't aged today. And I'm like, okay, so like it should read like a modern book. Everyone was like,
I mean, it is a vampire.
I can't see any dust on this novel whatsoever. And then like Van Helsing, every time Van Helsing starts a conversation with somebody, he's like, we're going to be lifelong buddies. I just met you, but now that you've given me a date, I think I would die for you. And it's just like, what? I don't know. It was okay, but also like I realized through like just its pop culture influence, I already knew the story of Dracula. Yeah. And so when I'm going to read the book for the first time, there was nothing fresh in there for me because I was just like, oh, I watched an episode of Scooby-Doo 20 years ago and they touched on this stuff. Or I went and watched like 5 minutes of the movie from the 80s. I know this plot. And like just so many different areas that like it had technically all been spoiled because I'd already experienced the whole novel.
Right.
Even there was a Dracula movie with Leslie Nielsen as Dracula, and I forget what it's called. It's so campy, and I love it. But there were so many plot points from Dracula that had crossed over that even that, like I was like, oh, I remember this from that comedy that Leslie Nielsen was in. I It's supposed to be like scared and atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's just.
That was, I mean, it's interesting though, because I just read Jekyll and Hyde earlier this year with Patricia and Evie and Kay, and we did our classics discussion on it. And we kind of chatted a little bit about how horror then, what they considered to be this really terrifying, grotesque, horrible stuff. We have like grimdark is just, we're used to it. I feel like there's a little bit of desensitization to what they would have considered truly horrifying at that point. And also with just the internet and TV, it's just visually in our faces all the time. So
the Jekyll and Hyde scene from the Page Master movie with Macaulay Culkin scared me more than Dracula.
I can see that.
Although that scene to this day still gives me willies. Like, ugh.
Yeah. I think I've probably blocked most of the movies that I've had that experience with out of my brain. But
I mean, I think I've seen the Gary Oldman movie twice as well. But it's not a favorite that I've really paid attention to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good story. Like, I grew up watching the it's Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce, I think. And that film I grew up with and loved. I absolutely loved the story of it. And Jim Caviezel was an excellent Dantes.
Yeah, I literally Dantes. All I know is from the first 25% of Count of Monte Cristo. I've never seen the movies. I've never seen musicals. Nothing.
Derry thinks there's dust on Dracula. So
yeah,
I'm not alone.
Thank God, because I was just like, to be fair, like I thought there was less dust on Count of Monte Cristo than there was on Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, I couldn't get over just how quickly Van Helsing was just befriending everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah, he's like, hey, we've just met. Your wife just died. Do you mind if I be the executor of your estate? What?
In no universe would this happen.
I'm sure the circumstances are different, but there was stuff like that going on. It's just like, oh yeah, your wife just died. Do you mind if I exhume her body? Don't worry, it's for your own good. We're the best of friends. And it's like, what? You met?
I mean, Van Helsing is pretty sketchy, anyways.
I don't know.
So
it didn't work for me. And so let's see, we've done Agatha Christie. Then there were none. I think is the one that I read.
Okay.
I
haven't read her yet, and I really want to.
A Study in Scarlet for sure. A DNF Dracula. Are we counting Lord of the Rings as a classic?
Yeah.
Then I've read all of those. The Hobbit. Oh, I think I've peaked at Don Quixote. And that's really all that's coming to mind. Shogun's from the 50s, isn't it?
70s.
70s? Well, and not technically a classic.
Partial classic.
Partial classic.
Yeah.
I don't read a lot of classics.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't
read Gormenghast for forever.
Nice. Frankenstein is one of my favorite books. Like, not just classics. It's like in my top 10 favorite books ever. I've
been meaning to get the Penguin cloth bound hardback edition of Frankenstein.
Have you read it?
No.
Okay.
What?
I need a moment now.
You take your moment.
See, T, I actually have been working really hard to sprinkle some classics into my TBR. But I also don't want to force myself through classics that I'm not feeling in the moment, because a classic will burn me out way faster than anything else if I'm not in the right headspace for it. I'm currently working on Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, which is tiny and also very funny. So I'm enjoying that a lot.
I just bought a collection of Agatha Christie Guy Pierrot I've said it wrong again.
What, Poirot?
Poirot. Yeah, I bought 3. It's a bind of 3 of his books.
Yeah.
So I plan on reading that, but I really don't read beyond. I've got the James Bond books up here. I've got them all. You can't really quite see them. They're right there next to my Discworlds. Those are all James Bond books.
Poirot.
So those are from the 60s. Yeah, Poirot.
I've heard about that one too. Well, I've been reading some, like, let's see if I can, some non-Western classics. We're trying to get to some of those. So I wanted to read The Tale of Genji, which is a Japanese classic about a prince. And so I bought it. Evie was unhauling it, and I was like, hey, I want it. And I was not anticipating it to be...
That's huge.
I was not anticipating.
And that's a translated work?
Yeah, it is. Yep. It's going to happen someday. I'm committed.
I mean, yeah, like the 70s is usually about as far as I'll go back. Now, I do make exceptions because, there's Shogun 70s. When was Lonesome? Lonesome Dove is 80s, isn't it? Early 80s, late 70s.
I'm very excited to read that one.
I'm
85.
Yeah, I'm a scrub when it comes to classics. Like, they don't really call to me all that much. I've got the John Carter of Mars, the Barsoom, the first 6 over there. I've got the complete works of Sherlock Holmes. I do like older poetry. I've got James Wickham Riley collection over there.
Yeah, I do read poetry collections every once in a while because I also really love poetry.
James Wickham Riley's local to me, so like we used to go to his house,
cool,
which has been like historically preserved.
Oh, cool.
So like it's still got like its retention pond, it's still got its butler or its servant's entrance or whatever. Like the street itself, they've kept cobbled here in Indianapolis. Oh, cool. Like, that's awesome. Lockerbie Street is still cobbled. So they have maintained that residence just because he's such a prolific writer from Indiana.
I wouldn't have either, but I love it. We'll have to, we'll have to buddy read a poetry collection someday.
Sure.
That'd be fun. In fairness, I don't read a lot of rhyme and meter poetry. I'm definitely more of a free verse reader.
I'm just a scrub. I like Walt Whitman too.
Cool. Hey, Madison.
Hi.
It's one of the things with classics too that I'm always hesitant of like when to put one into my TBR. Not only because I usually am not feeling it, but also because the wrap up for the month would be like, so I read Count of Monte Cristo this month.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Let's talk about the book I read this month.
Right.
Welcome to Tori's monthly book club.
Right, exactly.
Do you feel pressure to read more than like a normal person would?
I did. I feel like I'm working on that. That's something that I've worked really hard on. I like right now, I really wanted to finish the 2 books that I'm reading right now before the end of the month, and Before They Are Hanged is one of them. And I was like, you know what? If I don't finish it, it's okay.
I did the exact same thing last month with in March with April and No Port in a Storm. I tried to squeeze them in at the end of March, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to harm my reading experience.
Right.
I don't want to feel pressured. Best decision I made.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, there was a month last year for the India Chords Readathon where I put up, I don't know, Alan called me out for this one time. And it's
like 20 something.
It was either 20 or 30 something books in a month. I'm going to say it was like 25 maybe is my guess. And after that, I got a reputation as being a reading machine.
Comparatively.
So yes, I read a lot.
Yeah.
But since starting BookTube, I read more than I ever have in my life. 28. There we go. Thank you, Alan.
He was ready.
He was ready with it. He's got a little Post-it note of
on his computer.
Statistics for Andrew's Holy War.
Right. I have one too. Don't worry about it.
But that month, like, it was a lot of fun because I read a lot of great books.
Yeah.
But the month after started my burnout.
Yeah.
And I've made some recovery, but I've been writing burnout for 7 months.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point now where I'm in full on mood read. I'll get 25% to a book, put it down, pick up another one, put that down.
But I think that's okay. I think honestly, that's something that I would love to see more normalized, is this idea that, you know what, there isn't a standard. There isn't a, like, if you pick up a book and put it down, not everybody's like, oh, did you see that this person took the book off of Goodreads? And, you know, like, obviously they hated it. Like, because like people stalk our Goodreads. Yeah. And that's scary. And I'm I
went from having 3 Goodreads friends to I think I'm up to like 400 at this point. Like I approve at least 3 every day.
Well, like, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, should I approve these people? Because I don't know them. You know? Like,
I mean, if I put the link in my video description, that's my fault.
You just, Hey, you know what, Katie? You are graduating with a nuclear engineering degree. The fact that you've read 2 books this month is amazing. Give yourself a pat on the back.
But like, I would like to get down to 8 books a month. And I know that's still a lot, but 2 books a week would be fantastic.
I'm usually between 6 and 9 is usually my average. If it's a reading month, like if I'm taking a step back to write or something else, then I might have less, but 6 to 9 is pretty comfortable for me.
Usually I sit about 12 to 13 for the last couple months, which I'm good with, but like, I would like to have more time with family, more time to just do other stuff.
So why don't you pull back right now?
I'm trying. Honestly, it's the review copies that I've accepted.
And you're putting the pressure on yourself to like write now? Yeah. Uh-huh. So is that something where I should like yell at you every morning and be like, Andrew, put it down. Put down the review copy. Send you a Voxer. Put down the review copy. Put it down.
I mean, if I should do it like Patrick does. Honestly, Patrick's just like, I've got like 200 review copies. They're at this point. I'm using them to, reach tall shelves. So I don't know.
He reads quite a few books every month too.
Yeah, he reads fast. I need to limit myself more.
You do.
Because
everybody in the chat, constantly get after Andrew this next month and tell him to stop reading so many books.
Right. Yeah.
As soon as you hit 8 for the month, we're gonna show up en masse.
I'm trying to do what Sarah did. And what Sarah did a while ago is she did a dedicated 5. And then she created like a slush pile. Yeah, thank you, Murphy. She created a slush pile.
Terry sounds very threatening. Sorry.
Terry's already mad at me. So I consider myself thoroughly threatened.
Good.
But I love Derry. Derry actually sent me some nesting dolls for my kids. Aww. All the way from New Zealand. So that was
Derry's the best.
They're more used for chew toys right now, but they are played with. I can walk around any day and my son's just
they're being well loved.
Yeah, they're being well loved. Gnawed on. But yeah, well, a lot of what I do is audio, so a lot of the times I've just got noise. I'm a type of person where I just can't do silence.
Yeah.
Like, even when I sleep, there's white noise on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I usually at night, like I have somewhat frequent insomnia and chronic nightmares, and usually my anxiety is the worst at night, right before I go to bed, because I'm the last one awake every night. So I usually read until I'm exhausted and then fall asleep, because that way I actually fall asleep, right?
The best thing you can do is drop an atomic elbow on Ben, and then you go to sleep, and he's the last to go to sleep.
He's so sweet. He's not a night owl at all, and he will try. So he's like, okay, so if I fall asleep, you wake me up, all right? I'm like, okay, dear. He's very sweet. In fairness, if I try to wake him up, he's immediately like, you know, there and trying, like, half asleep, like, oh, what happened? You okay? So he's a saint. Yeah, I'm getting more that way, Cal. Like this next few months, I'm gonna radically change how I choose books, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of mood reading.
I am doing review copies as mood reads is basically what I've done.
Are you though?
I mean, I'm trying.
But are you though?
So like yeah. I got better about not accepting review copies, unless I'm already reading your series. So basically, if I'm already 3 books in, just keep them coming. Like at this point, I'm already committed. I'm already invested. But starting new stuff, unless it's something that like this one right here that's getting ready to come out, like the cover was too good not to.
Oh yeah, I have that one too.
Yeah, like like I saw the cover and I was just like, yeah. I mean, look at that. That is.
Can you tell we're both like indie reviewers? We're like, oh, I have that one.
Yeah, like, and it just the Smokesmiths book 1, that just sounded so cool.
It's unique sounding. Yeah, it was. And Joao is awesome.
I had to say yes to that.
Yeah.
And then like once an author knows where to send a book, they can just. And I was like, all right, yeah, it's here. I've got it.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't send you a review copy of Bloodstones this fall because you've got too many.
No. I'm beta.
I'll take you off the list. Yeah, I can take you off the list.
No, I'm a beta.
Yeah, but that's still reviewing. I mean, I could take you off the list. It's okay.
But hey,
because you're swamped. You're overwhelmed. I wouldn't want to add more to your plate.
Well, I'm sad.
I'm kidding.
This has been another disaster.
No, I'm more the type of person who's like, I'm just going to like budge in line real quick.
Honestly, there are certain authors where like if I get a book like Patricia, Andrew, although I still need to read Fourscored. Fourscored is probably going to be as soon as have I officially hauled Fourscored yet? No, I haven't hauled Fourscored yet. That's why it's not on a list yet.
I need to get the new version of Thrice too, because I have the old black cover one.
You sent me the old cover.
Yeah, that was I don't think it had even been redone when I sent it to you.
It was just getting ready to roll out.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Man, that's a long time on book 2. I was thinking back, that was like last fall.
Yeah, the time goes. I've been here since March of 2021.
January 2020 with a break.
I've been considering a break, but not like it's something that's been considered.
Yeah.
Where like, do I want to take like a week off? Do I want to take 2 weeks off? Do I want to take a month off?
Yeah.
But the thing that I like is now that I have momentum, it's just easier to keep doing the thing rather than stopping to do the thing. I'm very.
You could take a break and just relax for a week and know it would be okay.
Yes, I could.
Or 2 weeks even.
So my brain, so I'm slightly autistic.
Yeah.
And so I struggle with certain concepts, and taking a step back is one of them. Like
I get that.
Once I'm in a groove, I don't want to leave my groove.
Yeah.
Even like
so for you, is it more like finding ways within that groove to kind of change things around and relax more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why like I went down to 2 videos and I do a daily short. And I only usually do like typically on a Thursday I'd be live on my channel either doing reading sprints or wizardly ramblings. But now I get to talk to you. And so
that's the fun part.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I try and limit what I'm doing within the bounds of what my brain will allow.
Yeah. Yeah. Alan has a good point.
But that also drives into my groove, is because once a video posts and goes live, my brain instantly wants to record and replace the video. And if I replace, so I've got 4 videos within my Google Drive. When I pull out a video and upload it, I now have to record a video and replace it.
Gotcha. To keep the continuity going.
Because it's just habit.
Because you film multiple videos at a time, right? Like, because
No.
I'll do like 2 or 3 or 4 in one day if I can.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I do the thing. Like, I constantly
just okay.
My daughter's asking for her balloon. She got a balloon today.
Oh. I love that you call them childer beasts, Derry. That's wonderful.
What's a childer beast?
A small human that we are looking after. It's funny, Derry, because I don't get asked to do as many review copies as Andrew does, but I've also not been around quite as long, in fairness. And I do say no quite frequently, and especially right now where I'm trying to get my book done, I'm really being picky about, like, guys, I'm really sorry, go to the indie Accords, go to this whatever, but like I'm pretty picky at this point, and I let people know right away I can't give you a timeline of when this will be read. As long as you're okay with that, sure, because I will read it. It's just I can't tell you a timeline.
Oh, look, Palmer's here.
Hey, Palmer, we were just hyping your book because I started and I'm loving. We were gushing about that opening chapter. It was amazing. Yes, my book is on Goodreads.
Yeah.
Phased, I'm assuming.
I've read it. I've reviewed it. I did a video review for it.
It's true. And I always have to film my reviews first, because if I film anything else first, I don't have enough brain power to keep myself, like, the reviews are so hard for me with ADD because I can't, it's hard to stay in a cohesive sequential train of thought with the reviews. It's a lot easier for me to just like, all right, I read this book and this book and this book.
So it's hard for me to batch film because I get self-conscious when people are around while I'm filming. I don't.
For me too, Murphy.
I don't know why, but like if my wife is in the other room, if like my kids are barging in, like it's hard for me to relax in front of the camera. And so if I feel kind of awkward in front of the camera,
you do that thing where like Ben will come in the room for something when I'm filming, and I stop immediately, and I'm just like, okay, now I can go again.
yes. So I do that. And I don't like doing that. Like, I'm fine with editing and cutting out pauses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, there's something about, and so because I've got a toddler running around, I've got a 1-year-old, I've got
cutting out the guys, stop yelling.
Or it's like, I want you to go watch your Peppa Pig. Like, I need 5 minutes.
Give me 5 minutes. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just, it's better to just not. So like, usually if I'm filming, my son's like taking a nap. My daughter is either out on an excursion, like going on a walk around the neighborhood. So
with
like
someone, I hope.
Yes. He's 3. No, I just stick a GPS on her.
Right? Yeah.
And then just shove her out the door. Don't run in the street, and I just hope and pray that she listens to me.
Right.
No. But so it I don't know. It's hard for me to batch film. And it's weird because Alan brings up a thing of like, if you're in a groove, it should be easy. Not just because I'm in a groove doesn't mean like I have content ideas flowing.
Right.
I will sit there and basically just out an idea in order to keep my groove going.
Yeah. I'm trying to get better at that. And I was asking Murphy a little bit earlier this week because I really want to get more comfortable and confident doing not essays per se quite as in depth as Murphy's video essays are awesome. And I don't know that I want to go quite that in depth, but I want to do more like topic videos and be confident in talking about them and like yes, I'm smart enough to talk about these things, you know. That's where my self-conscious comes in.
You're definitely smart enough. I've tried a couple times, and like sometimes they work, and sometimes like I just feel like
I'm rambling.
The monkey with the symbols. Just see, I have a brain.
I mean, I can relate to that. There are some days I sit down in front of the camera and I film something and I'm like, there was not a coherent sentence anywhere in that 30 minutes, was there?
I literally had to post a thing where I said I said Wraithmark creator on Kickstart. And I was just like, that was entirely wrong. Mm-hmm. Like everything I just said was incorrect.
Yeah. Yeah, Britton, you might not have been here when I held it up last time, but this is beautiful. It is chunky, but it is very beautiful so far. I can attest to the first 2 chapters at least.
Speaking of Palmer, I'm wearing her shirt right now. Well, a shirt she sent me. It's not specifically her shirt. That'd be anyway.
It was at one point. She owned it at one point.
These 3. Way to make things nice and awkward. There we go. Moon beads. Night fighters. And heliotrope. Something fell out of the book. I don't know what it was.
I have like author goodies stashed all over my shelves now.
Yeah. So these are like author goodies from these are the bookmarks. Okay, cool. So like, I've got bookmarks stashed all over my house. I don't know where they all are.
Yeah.
I need to put these back.
I agree, Derry. Andrew, you are definitely not giving yourself enough credit here.
I never give myself. So I still very much have like imposter syndrome. Speaking of the channel to talk about imposter syndrome.
Yeah. There's a show you should watch. It's really funny because I've started becoming a little bit of a troll now where anytime I see people talking about imposter syndrome anywhere, I will grab the link to the first episode and be like, you should watch this.
But a lot of the times, like when I'm watching like either Daniel, Murphy, Alan, Mike, watching these people do Leslie create content, I'm just like, I feel like yep. Just like, I like book. Book has character. I like structure.
This sparks joy. This does not. I love Evie's review method on Twitter. It's honestly brilliant because that's one of my favorite threads on Twitter now. Just Evie holding up a book. This sparks joy. This does not spark joy. And I'm like, honestly, what more do you need?
Yeah. But I'm just like, I feel like a papu. Just read book.
You know, Katie, I appreciate the very thinly veiled call out here. I'm hopeless.
Is this referring to the timer?
Yes, because sometimes I have to do math, and then everybody yells at me because I'm not rounding up or down, and I just whatever. I never claimed to be a mathematician. I have horrible. Yeah. Well, that's like, I mean, we talk about that with authors all the time too. I mean, you know, if the biggest authors talk about having imposter syndrome and, you know, feeling like they're not good enough all the time. And I mean, it honestly doesn't matter. You're still the same person, regardless of how big your channel is, right? Like whether you have 2,000 or 400,000, there's still going to be those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, there are people watching me talk about things and I'm supposed to sound somewhat intelligent.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So
it's funny whenever I walk into a bookstore and like I've given like live I love giving like recommendations like live at a bookstore, and like some people are really into it and others are just like, who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I do this,
and that's where you flip out your business card for Andrew's Wizardly Reads, stick it in their book and leave. I'd be like, see you on my channel later.
Literally showing for subscribers in person in the bookstore.
Yep. Hey, it'll probably work.
Yeah, I'd probably get kicked out of the premises. But it's worked a couple times, and then other times where people are just like, "Oh, yeah, that's nice. No, piss off."
I will notice, like, if I'm in Barnes and Noble or in a bookstore where somebody's looking at a specific author that I know, I'll ask them, like, hey, have you read them before? And, like, if not, what kind of stuff do you like to read? You know, here's my experience with that author. Hope you enjoy it. You know.
Have you ever gotten approached for like muttering at like a bookstore?
No, that's my husband.
So like I've literally had somebody just look at me going like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, you're acting like you know these people. And I was like, I do. And they're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend, like when I was in college, I was introduced to Gardens of the Moon by another fantasy lover reader friend of mine that I was friends with, and he was a couple of years ahead of me in college, and he's like, you need to read this book. I read it, loved it, etc. And I remember joking to Ben then, I was like, man, someday I want to go to like a con and like sit and watch Erickson on a panel, or like get a chance to ask him a question or whatever. And like, if I could go back to myself 10 years ago and be like, guess what you're going to be doing in 10 years? You won't even believe it. Like, I had people from college messaging me who were like, oh my gosh, like these Steve. And I'm like, yeah, isn't it awesome? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things about the community is that it's really opened a lot of doors as far as the accessibility between readers and authors, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's funny. We went to a place called Indie Reads when Nico was in town a couple times ago, and they ran a social media page just showing people how to like take care of books, remove stickers, stuff like that. Like they don't use Goo Gone or anything like. They're like, no, we just use lighter fluid, and I was like, lighter fluid, and they're like, yeah, it removes all the residue, and I was just like, okay, fair enough.
Does it damage the dust jackets and stuff?
No. As long as you don't pour it on there, like you just kind of
dip, like cotton swab it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. It'll take the adhesive right off.
Because I've got to get de-library my Sun Eater books, and I'm like,
yeah, that's going to be interesting.
It is. Bye, Murphy. Have fun with your book.
And we look forward to the vlog.
See, I wouldn't want to be
Rude.
Yeah, I know, right? I'll watch the vlog later and make
she
it up.
She needs to come down to hang
he
out
needs
with
my views, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, jeez.
I may hit you up, Madison. If it's lemon, I've tried that before with mixed results.
I was told just straight lighter fluid and it'll remove the residue and it should come right up.
Oh.
I mean, you could go back the Kickstarter for the Empire of Silence for $100.
Okay, hot take. I like the old covers better. I'm not a fan. I'm really not.
Luckily, I've already got them all. Mylar wrapped. Not library editions.
Yeah, well, so. But my plan is currently to do, what's the last one that I had? Demon in White is the last library edition one that I have. So I'm going to start with that one and work my way back up to Empire of Silence and see how successful I am with Demon in White. And if that goes well, then we'll try the other two. Because I really don't want to mess up Howling Dark and Empire of Silence. That would be not good.
Are they super rare? Well, I know Empire is, but is Howling Dark rare now too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Empire is going for like multi-hundreds of dollars everywhere. So, yeah.
I got mine for $70.
$12. Just saying. I just about fell over when I walked into that Half Price Books and saw the entire set up on the bookshelf. And I was like, am I seeing things? This is like an insane deal, right? Yeah. See you later, Mads. And I don't want to, I know you're probably tired, but
I did as well.
Yes. I would love to, but I'm broke. And it's beautiful. And I'm going to live vicariously through everyone else's version. I am really excited to get that Sword of Kaigen, though.
Yeah.
Very excited. And I also backed, what's it called? There was like an assassin anthology that Wraithmarked was putting out. and I can't remember what it's called, but I have that one coming too, and I'm very excited about that one. So yeah, I didn't know that was a thing until the last couple of months, and apparently it's very difficult to get hands on now. But we have been talking for almost 2 hours, which does not shock me. So I finally had you on for a Book Friends chat, Andrew.
Yes. How was it? It was good. It's fantastic. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
10 out of 10. 5 stars on Goodreads.
5 stars on Goodreads.
Awesome.
4 stars on Storygraph. I'm just kidding.
And the video review will be lukewarm.
You can't find your teddy bear?
Oh no!
You can't find your teddy bear?
Kaya.
Mommy just found your teddy bear. You want Daddy to come put you to bed?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. I'll be over in a minute.
Okay.
Oh, go get Teddy.
Yes, that one, Derek. Blades Fall Silent. So
I'll be up in a second, honey.
Okay. So yeah, I will let you go so that you can be dad. But thank you for joining me for our chat this evening.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have missed it.
And thank you everybody in the chat for hanging out with us. I hope you guys are all having a great day and you have a great weekend coming up here. And Andrew, we are all in your corner and we're going to keep you from reading too many books.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So just know that that's on its way.
Cool.
I'll be Voxering you on the regular.
I need it.
So, all right. Good night, everybody.
So long goodbye.